Hi everybody, it's Teen Book Tuesday and I'm Lorie. I'm the teen librarian at Manlius Library and I'm coming to you today from my living room. I read an Instagram post recently by popular YA author Nick Stone and it really stayed with me and I want to share it with you. She said, "So while you're reading those books about racism, please also read books about explicitly Black people, especially Black kids, just being human. Doing things humans are allowed to do in our imaginations. Falling in love, dealing with illness, navigating time travel, questioning other aspects of their identities, saving their country, fighting with their parents." So, in celebration of Black History Month today, I thought I would share a selection of books that celebrate Black lives by exploring the everyday joys and typical struggles of teens, in particular, Black teens. And the first one I'm going to tell you about today is called If It Makes You Happy by Claire Kahn. This is about Winnie. Winnie is a big, fiery Black girl who loves herself, her family, and her granny's diner in the little town of Misty Haven. For her last summer before college, Winnie goes to work at the diner, and everything in her life seems perfect. Until she unexpectedly becomes Misty Haven's summer queen. Then her secret crush, Dallas, nominates himself to be summer king, much to the dismay of Winnie's queer platonic ungirlfriend, Kara. As Winnie wrestles with what she wants out of love and out of life, she must discover her fears and challenge others to view her with the same body positivity with which she views herself. It's a wonderful book. It's fun, it's fast, and it's got terrific real characters. Highly recommended. That's If It Makes You Happy by Claire Kahn. Next up, The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Philippe. This is about 17-year-old Norris Kaplan. He's just had his world turned upside down. When his mother has to relocate to find work in her field, Norris finds his identity as a Black French-Canadian hockey fan challenged by his new existence in the suburbs of Austin, Texas. At Anderson High, he plans to keep his head down and draw as little attention to himself as possible. To amuse himself, he uses the journal that the admissions officer gives him to create a snarky field guide to his fellow students. Norris usually has something sarcastic to say, so he doesn't go unnoticed for long. He attracts the attention of a jock, Patrick, a cheerleader, Madison, and loner, Liam, who are each more than they seem. He is instantly smitten when he meets Aarti, and when Madison offers her help in setting the two up, she and Norris strike a reluctant friendship. Things are good, with Norris even heading up a fledgling hockey team. But a debacle at a prom after party involving Aarti, her ex, and Norris's big mouth threatens his new friendships. This is a smart and funny book about being an outsider and about discovering what it is to be a friend. And that's The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Philippe, and it's got a fun cover. And it's got the different characteristics of the different people that he writes about. For example, jocks and cheerleaders, identifying characteristics: muscular, rarely spotted without a water bottle, athleisure wear. Habitat, the jock table, football stadium, or other athletic field, keg parties. Preening habits, extensive. Mating habits, frequency of copulation typically over-exaggerated. And then the loners, identifying characteristics: headphones that aren't necessarily playing anything, sad eyes, stands out just enough to let you know to stay away. And habitat, basement level lockers. So that's The Field Guide to the North American Teenager. It's a lot of fun. Something that we're starting to see a lot more of is fantasy featuring Black main characters. And this is a fabulous series. It's called The Bells by Danielle Clayton. And it is based sort of on a Greek legend. Legend has it that the god of sky fell in love with the goddess of beauty, but soon grew jealous of the attention she gave to their children, the first humans. In punishment, he cursed the kids with ugliness. Skin the color of a sunless sky, eyes the shade of blood, hair the texture of rotten straw, and a deep sadness that quickly turns to madness. In retaliation, as the legend goes, beauty made the bells. Now beauty is the ultimate commodity. Camellia, there's Camellia, is one such belle, a beautiful girl who is blessed, like her sisters, to transform the gray and ugly bodies of the citizens of Orleans into something beautiful for a time. But above all other things, beauty here is deception. And it's not long before Camellia realizes that the life she's been trained for and the world she's been prepared to enter her whole life are nothing more than mirages. Camellia and her sisters have been kept in the dark most of their lives about their powers and their strengths. And when Camellia is asked to use her belle magic in ways it's not intended, she finds herself caught up in a political plot and faced with impossible choices. This is a lush fantasy with fabulous world building, great characters, and imagines a world in which the drive for perfection is also the greatest ruin. And that's Belle's, and it's got a gorgeous cover. Next, I have a realistic fiction called With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. It's about Emily. Emily Santiago is an Afro-Latinx high school senior in Philadelphia who dreams up the most delectable concoctions, always mixing up tastes from her two cultures with a spice of her own. The news of a culinary arts course with a possible trip to Spain grabs her interest. But how will she juggle school, work, and taking care of her daughter? She is barely balancing everything on her plate with the help of her talented best friend Angelica, Buelo, her intractable grandmother, and occasional visits from her activist father, who moved to Puerto Rico after her mother's death. Emily has to deal with daycare drop-offs, custody issues, and making ends meet alongside college applications, budding romances, and the high school rumor mill. This is an engaging, authentic, and hopeful book about being a teen and a mom and a young woman. And bonus, there's recipes and another gorgeous cover. I'm a sucker for a book with recipes. Next up, also realistic fiction, but it is a retelling. It's called Pride by Ibby Zaboy, and it's a contemporary retelling of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, one of my personal favorite books. It tackles gentrification, blackness, and romance with honesty, humor, and heart. I'm going to read you just a little bit of the very beginning. Chapter 1. It's a truth universally acknowledged that when rich people move into the hood, where it's a little bit broken and a little bit forgotten, the first thing they want to do is clean it up. But it's not just the junky stuff they'll get rid of. People can be thrown away too, like last night's trash left out on sidewalks, or pushed to the edge of wherever all broken things go. What those rich people don't always know is that broken and forgotten neighborhoods were first built of love. The new owners are moving into the mini mansion across the street today. For the last few months, construction crews have been giving that abandoned house an extreme makeover, Bushwick edition. They gutted and renovated the best thing on our block, that rundown, weed-infested, boarded-up house. Now it looks like something that belongs in the suburbs, with its wide double doors, sparkling windows, and tiny manicured lawn. I pull back the curtains to greet my little corner of Bushwick and Jefferson Avenues, my very own way of stretching out my arms and yawning at the morning sun. This is where I see words swim in and out, in and around my neighborhood, like dust from overhead train tracks. It's all poetry, so I pull those words together and try to make sense of it all. My hood, my Brooklyn, my life, my world, and me in it. Everything is how it's supposed to be, except for that mini mansion that's like a newly polished pair of Jordans thrown in with a bunch of well-worn knockoffs. Still, I remind myself that today is special, and I won't let those new neighbors moving in mess that up. My big sister Janae is coming home from her first year of college after finishing up a school internship, and she'll be spending the rest of her summer break with me. Mama's got a welcome back dinner all planned out. I fluff up my thick, kinky fro and throw on an old pair of jean shorts. They're hand-me-downs from Janae, and they're even tighter than they were last summer. Mama has joked that my curves have finally kicked in at 17. Not that I was waiting for them. The Haitian Dominican Benitez sisters already get enough attention on the street and at school as it is. I slept late, but I can hear my younger sisters, Marisol, Layla, and Kayla, joking and laughing in the kitchen as they help Mama with the welcome back dinner. Peeling batatas, seasoning the chicken, boiling the habichuelas, and soaking the dry salted fish for bacalao. Poppy must be sleeping in because he worked overtime last night, and I know he wants to avoid all that noise. I get it, though. Sometimes I would rather hear the sound of roaring buses, zooming cars, and blaring music over my sister's constant cackling, and Mama's too. She's the loudest of them all, and she can be the most embarrassing. Me, Poppy, and Janae are the quiet ones in the family. All three of us would rather fold into each other on the couch, reading a book or watching a documentary, than gossiping with Mama. I'm about to head into the kitchen when I see it. Across the street, a blacked out SUV pulls up in front of the new mini mansion. They're here! We all took bets on what these fools were going to look like. Black and rich or white and rich. One thing's for sure, they had to be rich to move into that house. The passenger side door opens, and, never one to lose a bet, I yell out at the top of my lungs, "The rich people are here!" In no time, Marisol, who's 2 years younger, is standing right beside me. Not because she's the fastest, but because she has the most to lose with this bet. Me and my money-hungry sister, aka Money Love Mari, bet a whole $20 that it's a young white family moving in, because that's what's been happening all over Bushwick. "Come on, white boy, come on," Marisol says while clapping and pushing up her thick glasses. "Let's make this money." But a black woman gets out from the passenger side just as Layla walks in and shouts, "Yes, we won! Give us our money!" She and her twin Kayla bet that it would be a rapper or a basketball player and his supermodel wife, and we'd all be famous by association just because we live on the same block. But then the driver hops out along with 2 passengers, and we can't believe our eyes. Stepping out of the back of the car are 2 of the finest boys we've ever seen. Fine, black teenage boys. Marisol and I have definitely lost the bet, but no one cares. And this is the story of Zizi and her 4 sisters and the family that moves in across the street. Like I said, it's a retelling of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. It is very well done. It is highly entertaining, and it's just super fun. I recommend it. And it's got a great cover. The cover is actually what drew me to this book first. It's called Pride by Ibby Zaboy. And finally today, You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This is the story of Liz Lighty. There she is on the cover in a crown. And she's always done her best to avoid the spotlight in her small, wealthy, and prom-obsessed Midwestern high school. After all, her family is black and rather poor, especially since her mother died. Instead, she has concentrated on her grades and her musical ability in the hopes it will win her a scholarship to elite Pennington College and their famous orchestra where she plans to study medicine. But when that scholarship falls through, she's forced to turn to her school's scholarship for prom king and queen, which plunges her into the gauntlet of social media, which she hates, and leads her to discoveries about her own identity and the value of true friendship. This is a funny, feel-good book about misfits, friends, and finding out who you are. Highly recommended. That's You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 fabulous books, all different genres, something for everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Again, my name is Lorie, and I am the teen librarian at Manlius Library. If you see a book here that you like, pop over to our website at manliuslibrary.org. Put it on hold, and you can arrange for a curbside pickup, or we are now open. So you can also find our hours on the website, and you could stop in for a quick visit. We're limiting visits to an hour right now, and pick up your books, okay? Have a great week. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Happy reading.